over the last day. And I looked at some of the responses in there and I thought, some of those responses are so stupid. I don't even know how to respond. I know how to respond really well. I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. And it's just sad. It's just really sad how people don't get it. When someone is engaged, and you keep digging in and interfering and constantly keep showing up and testing and texting and messaging an engaged man, that is wrong. And I don't care what society that you live in, that is wrong. And my little Ilocano Amon, that was from Ilocos Sur, that lived across the street from me for 40 years. He passed away 4 years ago. He was 96. One of the best pieces of advice that he ever gave me, he says, Stephen, concerning the Philippines, tiny little guy, and he was on my hand. Of the wisest men that I've ever known was this little Ilocano farmer that never made it past 3rd grade. He was one of the most intelligent men I've ever met. And I've got another one right here. Right here. This is my Uncle Terrence. He's old enough to be my uncle. And I respect him. He's going to be 80 years old tomorrow. 80 years old. And he's as spry as a 50-year-old. And he ended up with a babe, an absolute babe, as a wife who loves the Lord Jesus with her whole heart. You know how lucky, and I'm the same way. I ended up with a gal, she's almost my age, and I feel the same. I adore my Marjorie. I absolutely, and I refuse to allow anything to happen to compromise that relationship. Terrence is the same way with Beth, and Beth is the same way with him. Oh, my Marjorie, women come around because they see this big, tall, 6'4", blue-eyed Cano, and all that talks real well and talks real smooth, and women constantly are approaching me, and Margie's like, back off, he's mine. And Lena was reasonable. When someone says that you're hers, it's reasonable, protect what is yours.
Yes.
And it is unreasonable to expect her not to come to the defense of her relationship. Well, that relationship proved that it was wrong. So again, people out there in viewership land, you need to get your acts together. Most of you are reasonable people. I've corresponded with a number of you, and you're reasonable. And you watch this channel because you love these two people. And Nana in there, you love her. Manang Lena and the little kids here, and you're reasonable. And these are relationships that most of you want to have. And I'll tell you something, I feel sad. Because many of you don't have what these two have. Many of you don't have what me and my Marjorie have. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you don't have that. But we're giving you an example of what it is to serve God and to love one another. And if that isn't good enough for you, please go to some other channel somewhere else. If you're looking for a bunch of garbage to watch and a bunch of immorality and everything else, please go somewhere else. YouTube is filled with millions of channels that are that way. There's only a handful of channels on here that are wholesome and decent and kind and loving and godly. And this is one. If this isn't your fit, please go. And leave those of us that are of this persuasion, that constantly contribute and help and encourage them. That's what this channel is all about. This is a feel-good channel that is a do-good channel. This channel backs up what it says. Okay? So if you don't get it, go somewhere else. because most of you that want to act this way, you don't get us. And guess what? We don't get you, because we're not sinking to that level. We're done sinking to that level. So the thing is, pretty soon, there's going to be the sound of something called delete, delete, delete. So get used to it. So that's just my 2 cents for the breakfast today.